My name is Joel Spickerman. I am the middle office manager at TriStar Trust. I also am a relationship manager. So I have client relationships. That is, I would say, the most rewarding part of my job. The other aspect of it, managing the middle office from a day-to-day point of view, is mostly process-based, but bigger picture, I'm helping people achieve their career goals. Very rewarding. I plan to retire when I'm willing to retire and able to retire. So the first part of that is the ability to retire. It's easy to want to retire, but can you retire? Is it possible? Can you finance your retirement? So that's what we're spending these years while working, saving up for, is giving myself the ability to retire. But then eventually down the road, it's going to be, do I want to keep working? So the closer you get to reaching those planning goals where you've saved enough to retire, you get to the point where you could quit today. And I like to think of it the way that my grandpa used to talk about it. So he worked for the city of Midland, and he used to say that he would keep coming into work as long as it was fun. And he did just that. He worked for a number of years after he could have retired. And every day he said at the end of the day, it was still fun. And so he continued to come in. Retirement makes me feel apprehensive. Due to the line of work that I'm in, I get to meet a lot of folks who are very close to retirement, recently retired, and I can see how anxiety-inducing it can be for them, largely due to the uncertainty. For me personally, that would be the reason for it. I'm very optimistic about the future, but I don't know if the size of the cake in retirement is going to be a wedding cake or a slice of cake. It'll be cake, so I'm sure it'll taste good, but I don't know the size of it. So I'm apprehensive in anticipation of what it's going to grow to. And having seen this in a lot of clients personally, I can sort of empathize with where they're coming from, and I can certainly sympathize with it. I'm planning for retirement by saving and investing. The first part of my savings is going into my checking account. Those are all my short-term liabilities, month-to-month expenses. The next bucket that it's going into would be a savings account at the bank. Those are slightly longer term expenses. Those would include my emergency fund, as well as my, we'll call them more anticipated cash needs, for instance, new automobile. Beyond that, it is anticipated cash needs that have a less well-defined time horizon. So, for instance, saving up for a house. Though that money is being invested less aggressively. And then beyond that, I'm investing much more aggressively in anticipation for retirement down the road. When I retire, I will have made one of the most thoughtful decisions that I expect I will ever make. So our culture ties up one's identity pretty closely with your career. When you're working, that's fine. But what happens when you're not working? So I expect to need to substitute something that is just as satisfying as work was for those decades when I'm in retirement. So I like to read. I like to think about things in general. I like to spend time with family. I like to spend time with friends. Nothing particularly unconventional. I think that's probably ultimately what most people want to do when they're retired. But you get so used to, you spend a lot of years not doing those things, and I think to some extent you probably have to relearn how to do them. Spending that amount of time with family and friends and spending money rather than making money. And so I anticipate that it will be well thought out. Retirement is my time to shine.